Hello and welcome into SorareData Office Hours. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined today by the CEO of Podium. I think this is the first time I've been able to use that, Maxime Hagenbourger. Maxime, it's been quite a day so far. How you feeling?
Yeah, as I said like 2 minutes ago, exhausted. It's yeah, I mean my face can tell it. I mean it's like it's such like it was a pretty long process, and we had tons of issues to deal with, administrative stuff to deal with, and I wanted to announce that and to close that actually like in June, and here we are September 6th or 7th, yeah, 7th, announcing this publicly. But yeah, very happy about like the evolution and very happy to be with you guys tonight.
So obvious, I think most people have seen it already. If they haven't, SorareData is now is effectively a subsidiary of a new company called Podium that we launched. Thanks to a 2 million euro seed round of funding that is going to not make you rich, unfortunately, because you have bills to pay. But we are launching a new site called Rainmetrics, which is going to cover DraftKings Rainmakers. We'll go into some details in a little bit. But the big question I think a lot of people had was going to be what happens to SorareData. And basically, I don't want to say nothing's happening because we're doing a ton with SorareData. It's just that fundamentally the company is staying the same. But as we do all the time, we're just looking to improve the site and the tools and increase what we offer. So if there are any worries that there are going to be big changes to SorareData, don't worry. Although, Maxime, I think the one thing that a few people have noticed, which because we've referenced it, is that you've taken a bit of a step back from SorareData.
Yes.
And someone else has gotten a little bit of more responsibilities there. Don't worry, everyone. It's not me.
Yeah, so so Vitaly, you probably have seen this guy on either SorareData streams. I think he did one with you already or multiple, I don't know. But Vitaly, who was like an active member of the community before joining SorareData, he's now in charge of the product, and I'm in charge of Rainmetrics. So I'm going to build the foundations for Rainmetrics, and I'm pretty excited about that because that's what I do best. To be honest, people were used to SorareData being updated pretty much in real time with stuff happening like every 2 days or stuff like that. That was because of me. But that was good because that was new thing. There were new things, new stuff coming. But obviously, it wasn't hitting the mark every time, and it wasn't like done properly. So now we have like a full team of like developers. We are like 5 developers with the fundraising. That will go like almost 100% towards SorareData's development. And so yeah, SorareData is in like its best shape yet, and is going to be even better in the coming weeks. Expect some pretty good updates during the month of September also. But I mean, you guys will see what's up. I had the French stream just before that, and Clément, so the new head of product, actually like spoke about it. So if you want to know what's going on, just like learn French and go on the French stream. No, but something that is going to be released tomorrow for the lineup builder is the lineup strength indicator. That's going to tell you is your lineup any good in terms of like when you consider like the best lineup possible, like on Sorare, like the best lineup possible would have like the 100 score, and you will see how your lineup compares to that. So you don't get like expectations of stuff happening. Lineup that is worth 50 points. Don't get excited. It's probably not going to be a pretty good lineup. So that's coming tomorrow. Lots of things coming after that. But yeah, SorareData is going to be developed by a lot of amazing people. So I'm glad about that.
I'll even say you don't need to learn French if you just go over to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SorareData. and you just have to go to the hour 10-minute mark. You could just mute it and you could see them playing around with it. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, people will be seeing it tomorrow for these terrible international matches. But I only say terrible because I looked at my own cards and realized my lineup strengths will be around 7 out of 100, and so it's not the fun.
And yeah, and something that will come just after that, like probably in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, is like, okay, so your lineup sucks. It's like a 10. What can you do to actually fix it? And we'll be able to like give you recommendations of card you could actually use on the market that could replace like a weak link in your lineup.
See, we're still working. Everything's still just moving along. Let's talk a little bit about Rainmetrics briefly. I know most people here come because of SorareData. Rainmetrics is dedicated to DraftKings Rainmakers, which is their NFT fantasy NFL game. The dual use of football is going to be confusing for us for a little bit. I'm going to call it NFL, even though DraftKings calls it football. But what about Rainmakers made you want to focus to make that game kind of the second focus of Podium?
Yeah, so it's like so when we raised like the first round that allowed us to actually hire you, Andrew, that was like 2 years ago now. It's been 2 years you've been working with us. Wow, how time flies. But it's like, I just answering the question in the chat before I forget. I don't know if it's going to be free. It might be. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So we were like, so we could do that. We can do that for Sorare. Why not doing that for like every play to earn that exists on the planet, right? But like we realized that a lot of play to earns were pretty like different, and like play to earn like Sorare is very different in the term in the fact that you actually have like sports data related to that, and not like a fantasy game or like a fantasy world attached to the game. Yeah. And so I think that we realized pretty quickly that we wanted to do only fantasy sports, NFT fantasy sports. And we don't want to do them all. I think that we were asked on the French stream if we wanted to do, like, for example, Ultimate Champions. Ultimate Champions is doing great work with some football leagues and also some European basketball leagues. But we don't feel like it's the right time for us to do that because, like, in terms of volume and in terms of like number of users, we don't feel like it's the right moment to do that. And also we look at like the brand. It's like DraftKings is one of the biggest sports book in the US, obviously, has like a great reputation. Like I don't think they're going to go bankrupt anytime soon. So yeah, it's like now they're doing NFT fantasy sports. They're doing some pretty good volumes, and it's better than Sorare NBA and Sorare MLB combined, to be honest, with football running on only like 6 months of the year. Yeah. Sorry. So I mean it's the right opportunity for us to actually like diversify from Sorare, because if you look at SorareData as a business, it's attracting because it's making some money. We have like 12K subscribers right now. We are making over €1 million each year, but we are so dependent on Sorare, and that's the main concern of me, investors, and also like everyone, like employees or whatever, because you never know what happens with Sorare, right? But our belief is beyond Sorare, it's on the whole industry, and so that's why we had to introduce a new brand that is going to host the products we're going to develop on the NFT fantasy sports sector. And we felt like with the volume, with the number of users, with the popularity also of the sport, Rainmakers NFL was the right choice to start with. But we might do another one in 6 months. We might do 2 other one. The idea is really like to have like the top 3, 4, maybe 5 if there's like a big offering. It's like top 3 products out there and just focus like on power horses, let's say.
Yeah, a question in the chat from Mike Basson asking if this was the culmination of what you talked about 12 months ago, basically being data analytics for fantasy sports. It's really NFT fantasy sports. We're not looking to go after regular fantasy sports games. We're not really interested in NFT projects that have nothing to do with fantasy sports. We really do focus. You've said it a number of times that you think that the future of fantasy sports involves NFTs. And so we're trying to get in at the forefront of the games that we think will last and that people are interested in and that they'll play. And that's why, obviously, you started with Sorare and why we're adding in Rainmakers right now with rainmetrics. Another question from Ben asking if we're only doing NFL or if we're doing golf and UFC, because those products are available for Rainmakers. We are only doing NFL right now.
Yeah, and it's definitely not exclusive that we do golf or UFC, but obviously NFL season is starting right now, and we didn't want like to lose focus, and like starting with NFL is going to be a big challenge already. Like getting to know a new community, like playing a new game, it's not going to be easy, and we have to do it like step by step. But there's an off season, so I mean, if we have time on our hands, and we feel like also it's, I mean, we'll have the conversation about like Sorare NBA and Sorare MLB just after that, but it's actually the same conversation for Rainmakers. If like there's no volume on UFC or no volume on golf, we probably won't like do anything for those sports, because like again, we have to optimize the time that we spend on projects and on products. And so if we make like premium subscriptions for football, Sorare football, and for example, Rainmakers, NFL, we'll probably dedicate much of our time on those products. But we will make sure that we cover also like promising sports like NBA, MLB, golf, UFC, if we see an opportunity.
I think the other point that we kind of made at the beginning, but I want to at least kind of hammer home here is this fundraising round. We make a big deal that SorareData is now under Podium and that we're launching Rainmetrics, but we have pretty dedicated teams to each product, meaning SorareData and Rainmetrics, and so this reminds me of like when MLB and NBA launched with Sorare, and everyone was talking about like how they were taking resources away from football to like focus on those. And fundamentally, we're not doing that. Like we have a very clear SorareData team that grew because of this fundraising round. And so we're continuing to grow that product as we grow Rainmetrics. And so Alex Wilson says, as a SorareData subscriber, what does this mean for me? Is it business as usual? Yes, it is business as usual. And the only difference will be more tools in the future.
Yeah, that's good news. But like again, before the fundraise started, we were like 10 people, but most of them were like, it was a 50-50 split between developers and like product people, and we hired like 5 developers with this fundraising. And so it's like the focus is shipping more stuff, and so it's not like we are like hiring, I don't know, a support guy, a new content guy, or whatever. It's like only developers. We have the right product team for now. We lacked some developer force, and now we have it. So obviously it's the same thing for Sorare. Like when they were 17 when they raised 680 million. We won't do that. That's for sure. But like people expect when they see those numbers, like, wow, it's going to be amazing and amazing very fast. And Sorare has a great job like growing, but there were also many challenges to deal with. And so when you hire new people, they don't like start to be 100% like day one. You have to integrate them and they have to get to full speed. So yeah, I expect like a good like release rhythm, like maybe like before, I don't know, the end of the year.
Yeah, I think we all just need to appreciate that it takes a while to build this stuff. Like all of it is particularly, we obviously had the foundation with SorareData, but to build what we're trying to build takes a lot of resources and time from those. And those are basically the developers and the time that it takes them to do it. And so obviously we have the design and the testing phases and all of that, but we're basically launching Rainmetrics today in beta. We have plenty of stuff that is coming fairly soon, but just bear with us as we're not coming out today saying we have a full suite of features and go nuts.
No, and we're pretty humble. We don't have a lineup builder yet. We hope to have one ready for next week. But I mean, if you are a user that a SorareData user today, you will see a lot of similarities with rainmetrics, and that's fine. I mean, that it's somewhere like somehow a copy paste of most of the stuff we are doing on SorareData, and also that's because we think that what we are doing on SorareData works well. I think not everything will work well with Rainmakers, that's for sure, but at least we're trying to use what we do for SorareData and apply it to Rainmakers. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But if you're a Rainmakers player and you want to get involved, don't hesitate to send me an email, maxime@soraredata.com. Sorry, I'm mixing French and English. Or maxime@rainmetrics.com. Both work. And just like tell us what you expect, and if we can reach out to talk with you, to ask for some feedback, get your advice on stuff. We want to rely on community, and we want to do it with the community. That's always how it worked with SorareData.
Yeah, I mean, we've always wanted to build things that how we use them, and so the feedback that we get from many people of how they would like a tool to work because they want it to use a certain way. That's kind of the sort of the feedback we're looking for. Muldi was asking, will the current SorareData subscription be valid to use on the new platforms, or will they have their own? Our expectation they'll be totally separate, but that being said, Rainmetrics will be free for this season. And so
so
there's that.
About like the paywall stuff, so let's talk about it. So Rainmetrics obviously going to be free at least the first season. No reason to pay it behind a paywall. We announced also today that SorareData, NBA, and MLB tools are going to be free for the foreseeable future. And for the foreseeable future, I mean probably for the next season, also the next NBA season. Why I'm saying that is that we don't feel that the ecosystem for US sports on Sorare is ready for SorareData paywall. We did that with football because we felt that we had a lot of users that were interested in like having a subscription, or were ready to pay for it at least. And we don't feel we are close that number with the NBA and MLB ecosystem. So we are just going to keep developing stuff on those sports, probably more on the NBA than the MLB. Joke aside, like MLB lineup builder is going on mobile pretty soon. It's currently in beta testing. But yeah, I mean, we don't want to launch a paywall with like, I don't know, 500,000 subscribers. We want to make sure that we also like, if the ecosystem grows well, it's beneficial to us also. So we want to make sure that we don't launch this too fast and that we have like a good enough product also to launch it.
Like that answer. Ben Johnson was asking if we have had any communication with Sorare about this decision.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, well, if the question is, did we ask for permission? We did not. But I see Nicolas Julien like on a, like, let's say not monthly, but like I don't know, every 2 months or something, we chat for a while. And I talked to Nicolas about our plans to actually fundraise and do something different and launch a new product. And I think he had like the smartest reaction. He said that basically he was happy for us because it's good for us to diversify, But he was also pretty happy for the ecosystem because if other products in the ecosystem are doing great, it's only good for the industry and the Sorare ecosystem as well. I think that at the end of the day, what matters is that people try embrace, like, let's adopt. That's the word I was looking for. People adopt like NFT fantasy games, and since they are not in real competition right now, since like they are doing different sports, I don't think there was an issue.
It's a question from, here it is, Mudwiser. Is this season of Rainmetrics pretty much a beta, or do we have a full platform ready to go?
No, so you're going to find the all good old Maxime on this one. If you don't know the good old Maxime, you'll discover it if you use Rainmakers and if you use Rainmetrics. It's just going to be like updates and updates and updates every week, if not every day. So yeah, we have like a lot of things in store in terms of like we designed stuff, but obviously like from design to actually production, there's quite some stuff to do. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be my 100% focus from now on. So that's it.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. That we've been working on this for a few months. It's not like we today announced we're going to do it and we started working. Like there's already been a bunch. And for anyone who plays Rainmakers, you can go over to rainmetrics.com right now and check it out. And again, like it's not a copy of SorareData. So what you have there is still much less than what you'll find on SorareData, but the goal is to make it as fully functional as SorareData is. And that's obviously going to take us a while because we have Maxime working on Rainmetrics and we have 5 other developers working on SorareData. So it's a nice little race. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Yeah.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure I can take the challenge and beat them.
Let's see. Nanzo said, I've never heard of Rainmakers before today. So Rainmakers is currently only available in the US.
And in 40 states, yeah.
And within that, there are only 40 of the 50 states where it is able to be played.
So we had the question in the chat about like UK eligibility and stuff like that. I think they're working on it. We talked with them about that, and they'd like to be everywhere basically, but they don't know when they are going to be able to do that.
It's one of those weird situations of a US company trying to launch elsewhere, because like they're similarly to gambling laws in the US, it's only legal in some places and not all. And their DFS product is available I know it's the UK and Germany, but not everywhere. And so there are a lot of regulatory things that they have to go through for Rainmakers as well. So there's that. Do you have data on how big Rainmakers is compared to Sorare?
It's on the homepage of Rainmetrics, and so you have like the number of like people that own at least one. Oh, it's dark on your, and it's not dark on my browser. Like I have to check that out. But anyway, owners of at least one collectible, it's 538,000, and that includes all the people that have, they have this kind of like common cards for Sorare, which is like a starter pack that you can't trade, but you can play with them and you can get other cards with that. So basically, that's like all the people that have at least one collectible. But it's actually 10% of that number, more than 50,000 people that have at least one listable collectible.
Right. I don't know why my...
So it compared like to, for example, compared to Sorare NBA and Sorare MLB, it's pretty big.
Yeah. It was much bigger than I thought it was, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's also why we went with it. It's because we realized how big it was, and we were like, if we wait another year to actually try and do something with them, the space is probably going to be too big at that point, and we'd have too much work to catch up. So I mean, it was like the right time and to actually do that.
Let's see. Yeah, Joshua. So daily volume is a weird one, at least now, because the season is starting today. And so there's pretty significant. I mean, we all know what SorareData or Sorare is like when seasons are about to start. So this probably is like the peak volume for this season.
It's also during the August months when they drop the new packs, because they have packs on Rainmakers, and you have like a lot of volume because people buy packs, a shit ton of packs. So they're like very hyped for the season. And yeah, the NFL season starts today. So I mean, people are hyped. By the way, Andrew, just saying, the lineup strength indicator we talked about is live. So you can go and check that out. I saw Jamie's question in the chat, and it's live now.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
There it is.
That's a pretty good lineup, 80. Oh, you own a Bruno card. Wow.
I won it,
right? Yeah. That's a great card.
Cap 240 rare, the greatest competition on Sorare.
Yeah. Well, talk about that.
No.
But yeah, pretty good. 80 is pretty good. I had a 74 just before. So that means that like you have a pretty good shot. And so, oh yeah, it doesn't work on suggestions, I believe. Yeah, you have to save
Once
it.
you save it,
they'll probably fix that. But yeah, that's pretty good. And so the recommend an upgrade is going to happen at some point, but it's a gray button for now.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Just like everything else, we'll get there.
Tough to take when your lineup projection is 15. I mean, at least you're like managing my expectations this game.
Yeah. I suppose that's right.
Do you think focusing on Rainmakers will increase how many TNPs you miss? And I was talking about that on the French stream. I stopped using suggestions. Well, suggestions are like when I go on the lineup builder, I click on suggestion, I see what it's telling me, and then I adapt, right? And before that, at one point, I was just like clicking suggestions, save, suggestions, save, suggestions, save, suggestions, save. It's also on the free SorareData version, so you're welcome. But thanks, Kurosaki. And so, yeah, I was just saving and like submitting suggested lineup, and I did pretty well with that. But I stopped doing that, and I took into account the fact that I'm a moron, and I was like, "Oh, but Gundogan is in my gallery, but he's not in a lineup this game week. Yeah, that's strange. Let's find a place for Gundogan or any kind of like Declan Rice or stuff like that. Like players I enjoy watching, but I'm like, oh no, I kind of want to find a spot for them." And this game week is a total disaster. Like, well, last game week is a total disaster because I won the threshold for Cap 240 limited. That's the only reward I got. It has to be like the worst game week for years for me. So yeah, I'll go back to using suggestions and stop like trying to think that I can beat the the suggestions. For questions and bugs or feedbacks or whatever, you can contact support@soraredata.com. It's very much appreciated. Everything is read. It's not necessarily dealt with instantly because I'm not there anymore. But it's going into a Notion page where every feedback and bug is logged. So thank you if you're taking the time to do that.
Yeah, I do always want to stress that those emails are read by a human and dealt with accordingly. So yeah, support@soraredata.com if you didn't hear that. Yeah. Medic31 says, is there a timetable for catching MLB up with football? In regards to information provided for your team and cards.
Yeah, I think it's like SO5 rewards, like, like what's the best card and stuff like that. I think that what we want to do is like allow people to have like a preferred sport at some point. And I think that's coming at some point. Like if you don't play football, like you want to see only baseball related information. And when you go to your gallery, it shows like baseball cards and not like football cards. We know that's a thing. We are by default football product because most users are using it for the football version. But we have to do a better job with that, obviously. But I guess my answer would be Medic. We love the MLB game. I think Andrew and I have been playing it since the beginning.
Yep.
But obviously, the ecosystem is too small right now, so to actually like dedicate too much time on that. The season is ending in like a month. That the regular season is ending like in 20 days. So I mean, we would like to spend more time on MLB, but we can't like have 2 or 3 people full time on that. But we, as Clément said, so the new head of SD, Clément said, and that's pretty clever way to actually present it. We're going to make sure that the tools we build are like cross sports to start with and not just dedicated for football to start with. And so expect that when we release new stuff, we'll try to integrate it for every sport that we cover. But obviously, MLB is, if the number of users for MLB stay the same, is probably not going to be a big time dedication for us.
Certainly not towards the end of the season. End of their season. Were there any other questions that came up during the French stream that nobody has brought up here?
I mean, probably a ton. But yeah, I cannot really say like at top of my head. I have to change my phone to setting to English, so no need to update the app to Hebrew anymore. Yeah, Jonathan, sorry about that. But great you found a solution, because he reads from right to left, and the whole application was messed up because of that. How long is the Rainmakers license for? I tried to get into it last year, but DraftKings platform is so glitchy in the UK. Surely Sorare wins this license from them at some point. I'm not sure. So I don't have the information of how long the license is for, but I think it's like multi-year. I think it has to be like 4 to 5 years. I'm just speculating, but that would be my guess. But I think that it's not that easy for Sorare to actually like get the NFL and FLP agreement now that DraftKings has it. And so I would rather see like something like DraftKings selling rights to Sorare, or Sorare selling some rights to licensing rights to DraftKings, or like sub-licensing or whatever, more than just like one negotiating with the right holders directly and kind of stealing the deal from the other game. So that would be my guess today.
Do you think that the future of NFT fantasy sports involves non-exclusive licenses, so that the NFL could sell a license to DraftKings and to Sorare and to whoever else wants them, and then?
Well, I think that it's exclusive right now, I would say.
It is now, yeah.
But I think that, and you could apply the same reasoning for football also. I think that there will be a time where Sorare will lose exclusive partnerships, and we'll only have like partnerships with some clubs and some leagues, because leagues will see that there are also competitors of Sorare, and they need licensing deals, and they probably think that they can make more money by selling to multiple companies instead of only one.
Right.
But I don't see that happening in like the next years. I think that the ecosystem has to develop way more. I think we need for that to happen, we need like maybe another sports book in the US trying to go towards the NFT fantasy sports market, and maybe also regulated gamblers in Europe doing that as well. Yeah, and I agree with Nenzo saying the MLB and NBA product suggests Sorare should focus on improving what it has before branching out to NFL. And I couldn't agree more on that. I think that it's so tough for, and I have the same problem for Rainmetrics. I think it's going to be very difficult for us. Well, we have an existing community, obviously, but it's going to be difficult for us, not being an American company, like launching a product dedicated to an American community. And I think you have to be like very humble about that, and like and think that you have a lot of things to achieve before being a success in US. I don't think that's. I think like Rainmakers users don't care about what we do on SorareData if we don't do a good job on Rainmetrics. So and Sorare, it's the same thing. How do you make sure that you attract US users when the fantasy market is so packed right now? Like you see like fantasy games offering you millions like every week, and Sorare doesn't get near that. Like they're not even offering ETH for NBA. So yeah, I mean there's a lot of work for Sorare to do, but they are doing very good on the football side of things, but they have to do better for NBA and MLB.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that people would get excited if there was a possibility for Sorare NFL, and then they would look at an MLB and NBA and be like, maybe
I'd be happy, like obviously like we have limited time tonight, but I'd be happy like to go back on a show and talk about the differences between Sorare and Rainmakers, and why I think that there are a lot of things that are very interesting about Rainmakers in terms of like sustainability and the gameplay model that they have. Because yeah, you have like collectibles that are not like they are not usable from 2022 to 2023. Like most of them are not, some are, but if you play with 2022 collectibles in the 2023 season, you will have a limited number of contests you will be able to participate in, and the rewards will be well, like significantly different and worse than 2023 contests. But you have like crafting recipes and stuff like that can help you like converting your 2022 gallery into a start of a 2023 collection. And that's something that is never going to happen. I never say never, but I don't think it will ever happen to Sorare, because Sorare has been sticking for years now with their own your game strategy, and say a 2019 card could play with a 2021 and a 2023 card in the same division. And those like philosophies are very different, and I think that both games have to learn from what the other one is doing.
I don't know if Sorare is too far along. They probably are, but yeah, the you can use this forever is very different than Rainmakers. And granted, this is only season 2 of Rainmakers, so it's not like we have years and years of what people have done with their NFTs, but the whole ecosystem is very different, just because there's so much of an emphasis on new, like current season cards. And there are things you can do with your old ones to get new ones. And it's very different. Like this is not Sorare just over on DraftKings doing NFL. Like it is a very different game. It's very different just how you play it. But fundamentally, we think that because of what was built at SorareData, we have an idea of how to make Rainmakers a little easier to play. And that's what our tools are going to be based on, of helping people get better at that game, just like Sorare.
Yeah, I can't wait to be able to have like a suggest button that builds like 150 lineups, and you can submit it like through a CSV. I mean, that's pretty cool, because Rainmakers allow that, and I think that that's something that we want Sorare to do at some point. So yeah, it's going to be different, but in many ways, we'll use our knowledge and our experience with the Sorare ecosystem.
So the real question that everybody wants to know, because there wasn't like a huge influx of NBA and MLB users who went over to football. Do you think that we're going to bring all these Rainmakers people to Sorare?
I know some people at Sorare would be very interested about that, but I don't know. I think we'll focus on making sure that they play Rainmakers well, and if they play Rainmakers well, maybe they'll be interested in playing some Sorare and using SorareData as well on Sorare. I mean, and to be completely transparent, that the end game for us is to be one unique platform under the Podium brand. I think that it's pretty clear, but it's not going to be there in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years. It's going to be there if there are multiple products that are doing a good job at bringing NFT fantasy sports to the public. And if one day Rainmetrics and Rainmakers and Sorare are competing on the same sport, we will study very closely the possibility of having one dedicated platform, because I think that's what most fantasy sports tools in the US do. They offer you tools for FanDuel, DraftKings, and so on.
Purely guessing, do you think that we're more likely to add golf or UFC to Rainmetrics, or to have a third product?
Oh, I think way more likely we add golf and UFC.
Okay, that's fair.
No, because I mean that would mean that why I'm saying that is I don't think that there is a third product we would be interested in covering in the next year. I just don't see it, but maybe it exists, or maybe it will exist, but I just don't see it right now.
That's fair. I don't see it either, so I was curious if you had seen it, what we were going to do. SR Monkey asking if either of us play Rainmakers. Maxime can't, and I'm allowed to buy cards, but I can't play the game. I have to move every week.
I cannot play myself, but we have people that can play, and we're getting that experience, and we're making sure we get the game experience that we need to actually because I think that one of the big things for us was to be able to play Sorare and to be a avid Sorare players to actually build SorareData. And I want to play Rainmakers. Obviously, I cannot play myself, but we have players in the team, and we make sure that we are actually able to experience the game.
Brees here says, I played Rainmakers NFL last season, fun game, and there are learnings for Sorare. As a player, I prefer the longer-term utility of the Sorare model, which I think we all like in theory, but we like it in literally as well, but it's also probably not the best from the platform standpoint. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, so I would ask Brees. That's a nice feedback. But I would say, Brees, do you prefer the utility model of Sorare because you get to play with 2019 cards, and you don't care about the sustainability of the platform? And I don't mean any disrespect by that, but I think that myself, for example, I'm a very bad customer for Sorare because I have sent them money at some point, but now I'm just free rolling, and I'm just getting back money, getting my money and stuff like that when I play well, obviously. But I don't think that from Sorare's perspective, it's sustainable. And I think that at some point, it's going to be a massive question to solve, because so if we go a bit deeper, they need 6 more years to have a card supply that is stable. And by stable, I mean they have like the number of cards being playable in the game is stable, because you have players that are retiring and players that are coming, etc. And so in 6 years, you will have like a stable supply of playing cards. What do you do during those full 6 years? That's the question I'm asking, and I think that it's a very, very tough challenge to solve.
Thankfully, we don't have to solve it ourselves. Where was I? I lost the comment wherever it was. But yeah, I had nothing else on that one. Oh, there you go. Action shots are the key. No?
No.
3D? No.
And I like about don't worry, I will find stuff to dislike about Rainmakers, but I like the fact that they have different. Well, so they have a franchise score that is basically like if you own like different kind of like NFTs, you get a score, and depending on this score, so if you own like very rare cards, for example, you will get a higher score, obviously. But like they take snapshots of collections like every month, and based on your ranking, you get money based on your collection. And I think that's something that Sorare should have done like years ago. And I think that's yeah, I think they have found many ways to actually like, and it's a pretty recent product. I hear the feedback of like maybe it's not run well, or attacks were a nightmare. I totally get that. But for like a very recent product that has only existed for a year, I think that's pretty solid what they were able to accomplish. So it has been here for, I don't know, like 5 years now. So, well, for 4 years, 4 full years.
The one thing that I noticed, or that we've discussed about Rainmakers, that I kind of like, that their lineups, their main competitions are like 5-card lineups, and with the NFL, the player pool is just not that big, so you tend to have a duplicate lineups, and that one of the like first tiebreakers is just serial number.
Yeah.
And so like lower serial number, the more valuable the card. And we, in Sorare, because that's like, it theoretically would be the case if nobody sold cards, and just like when they were minted, that number is more, will have a higher XP than the one that comes after it. But fundamentally, you do see like lower serials much more valuable. That like even the 39 is more valuable than the 52, than the 565, and that's interesting dynamic for them.
And I even think that we, at some point, we will have like a toggle that removes like the top 10% of scarcity of like of edition numbers on the price graphs of rainmetrics, because I feel like sometimes you see very high points in the price graph, and you're like, oh, that has to be like low edition number. And I think that, yeah, it's like the Jersey Mint and the number 1 on Sorare, right?
Yep. Brees also brought up the burn mechanism that they used, which lots of people have been talking about, that Sorare need to implement some sort of one. But yeah, we've talked about that, the crafting and all of the burning opportunities at Rainmakers, that's a dynamic of an NFT fantasy sports game that does not exist on Sorare.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it should. I'm like, that one thing that's going to be sure is I'm going to go to Sorare's offices sometimes, and I'm going to be like, you should do that. I mean, there's no way you should not do that. They have 5 scarcities, 5 rarities, they say on Rainmakers. So core, rare, elite, legendary, and Rainmaker. Rainmaker is pretty much unique, even if they're not unique really, but it's like pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same idea that the contests that you enter are based off of this, the types of cards. They call it rarity, not scarcity. Rarity of cards that you have, and so if you're coming from Sorare to do that, it's kind of, that makes a little, that part makes sense pretty easily to transfer over.
But like the supply isn't actually like the same for every player, and it changes depending on the position, the player, and the rarity, and you have like it depends. It's not like 1 out of 100, and it's going to be that for like forever. And
Yeah.
so, and I think that with the the lower serial number being very important, that kind of solves the collectibility issue. You will only keep like lower edition number, and that's it.
And they also have packs.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, packs, man. Who doesn't want packs? I mean, find me someone that doesn't want packs. I mean, I just want to rip packs open, and I think that's something that we need to do soon. And like have someone that's from our team that is playing Rainmakers and that is opening packs, because man, I mean, just like Sorare for rewards, they should do packs. I don't care if it's not totally random or if it's not packs. It's just that we want to rip it open and like having stuff inside.
Yeah, that Jump Shoe says packs are just lotto tickets, but they're fun. They're fun lotto tickets.
Well, hey, entering a Sorare lineup is a lotto ticket. And I have to say, that's like the fourth or fifth comment, unsolicited comment about SD leagues and cups. They are not coming back.
They're not completely unsolicited, because Andy mentioned something yesterday about, what was it? Oh, he wanted to convince you to build shitulars again. And he was like, if we only had somebody who previously ran a game, and then so people started remembering how much they liked leagues and cups, and that's why it's coming back.
And I honestly, I don't know why you guys liked it so much. It was a mess. But I mean, I'm glad people like. I had the same comments on the French stream. Like people were like, oh, "Bring as the leagues and cups back," and I was like, "I mean, that's not our job to do. I mean, we need to run a business right now, and if you pay us to do it, why not? But we cannot do that since it's not allowed by the law. So, I mean,
they're going to keep asking." But by the
yeah,
way,
I mean, they can do that. I mean, so okay, I will make a deal with the community right now. Buy the Podium company for an undisclosed amount, but a pretty high amount, and then I will be happily doing. I will happily do the shit to our stuff, but you have to buy the company first. So
seems fair. That's all. But this is also true what Mike is saying. You don't even work here. You don't even work at SorareData anymore, so you can't even. You're not going to build the cups.
Yeah,
we'll have to build Rainmakers.
I'm probably the person to convince them.
I guess when you're the CEO of Podium, you get to do that sort of thing. I think that's pretty good. If anybody has any last questions before we sign off, but Maxime has been talking for like 2.5 hours straight. An hour and a half of which was in
just
French,
want to address. I don't see the username, so I just want to read the message saying Sorare could learn a lot from Rainmakers and an incorrect statement. I mean, we're still new to the Rainmakers ecosystem, and we'll probably find out that my initial assessments were wrong, and I'm open to that idea, and maybe that is absolutely true. But I still feel that looking at other fantasy games, whether they're DraftKings, Rainmakers, Ultimate Champions, or other NFT games, is a good way to assess your current gameplay state. And like some people will have other ideas that could apply to your model also, and it's not a bad idea to look around.
Yeah, and I think fundamentally though, even if maybe they had the right idea but just haven't executed it like everyone wants them to, the idea shouldn't be ignored just because maybe the execution isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always something to learn. Yeah, right. And I think that working also the other way around. Like DraftKings probably have stuff to learn from Sorare. Like for example,
Sure.
they learned that owning your game for 10 years is not a good idea. So I mean, we can probably say that. No problem, JK. But thank you for your comment, though. You can learn from anyone. You don't only learn from better things. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I don't want to look like I'm dodging the we will be able to buy memberships in the club shop. I mean, it does not depend on us. And it's an active conversation. Obviously, they announced it. We want to do it. It's just like finding the right way to make it happen. And they have priorities also. And so we want to do that. But obviously, we don't want to give away memberships to Sorare. So we have to find a way to actually split that revenue.
Yeah, we've got bills to pay.
I mean, no, not anymore, because we have like 2 million on the bank account. That's right. So, I mean, and now I'm filthy rich, right? Like, it's no, it's like people think I'm rich. It's like I have a friend, a pretty close friend, saying, told him I was exhausted and stuff like that, and he said, "At least you can die rich." And he's like, and I'm like, "No, I'm not rich. I do not pay myself a salary, but we'll do soon."
That is where the money's going, I guess. Anyway,
the 2 millions are going to my bank account.
No, I think everybody just has to remember that we 15 now, like 15,
15
salaries that, this is our livelihood. So
sounds like something a rich person would say. You're not completely wrong on that. But yeah, hey,
okay.
Andrew, but to finish on like a lighter note, do you do like the you don't go far with 2 million if you have 15 people? Well, we make money, but yeah, I agree with you, Giacomo, that it's not going to give us like a year, like 10 years of existence. And Nellis is getting $1 million a year. Yeah, I mean, his salary has leaked in the on social media. I mean, yeah, I mean, Nellis is like so big we couldn't like pay him less than $1 million. Yeah. Do you? No, I did not pop any champagne, and that's wrong. But Andrew, are you playing like the treasure hunt for AC Milan cards?
No, I'm way too dumb to figure all of this out, and so I'm just going to wait for the community to solve it. And like I joked with Andy yesterday that even if I had the 12 words in the right order, I wouldn't even know what to do with them after that.
I mean, do you know what I'm doing? So I have said that in the French stream, and I will be saying that in the English stream. If I find it, I will not like get the cards and get the experience. But that's funny, because on Tuesday I spent 2 hours, and I feel so guilty about that. Instead of working on rainmetrics, I spent 2 hours. Well, not maybe 2 hours, but 1 hour, like coding an algorithm to brute force the solution to the Sorare treasure hunt. It's kind of like, now I want to do it.
Do you think more people, did you see that somebody sent another card into the wallet?
Yeah. And I someone on the French stream also said that they were doing the same thing that we are doing. So don't worry, someone is going to brute force it at some point. It's probably not going to be us, but I mean, I hope, because, so to explain how you actually deal with wallet seeds, it's like you have a list of 2048 words, okay? So English words from 3 to 7 letters, I think. And with those, you can generate a 12-word seed, right? And so since apparently they chose like words related to soccer or like sports or Sorare or whatever, you can like have a list of words that are pretty like likely to be in the seed phase, right? And so then you test all the combinations, and voila. So I hope they did like I hope they did like some random. They added some random words and not just like collect, game, score, and stuff like that.
Do
But
you
if
think
you want to
somebody?
try, if you're AC Milan supporters, that's the way to do it.
Do you think somebody cracks it before they give all the clues out?
Yeah, and I think that they have to do it because like some people are just like saying what they found. Like I've seen someone like just saying, "Oh, you have to decode it," and that's the word that is.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they have to be pretty straightforward. Is that why those are data servers are slow? No, that's just my computer doing the work. No, so I have to say we're not that slow anymore. I think we're not slow anymore. Well, if you're in the US, that might be a problem. But we had the problem before, like big game weeks at some point. But this has been fixed, so you can like relax and do your lineups. At what time do you do your lineups, Andrew?
Now I do them 1 hour before the deadline.
Yeah, and you can do that pretty easily with the
Yeah,
lineup
no
builder.
problem.
I would do that. Don't do them on Thursday. Do them like 3 p.m. CET. Get like we were talking about that in the French stream. Like plan like 1 minute per lineup so that you can enter them on Sorare easily, and you're good to go.
Good to go. That's right.
And final thing, uh, final thing. That's pretty funny, but final thing is, uh, yeah. So we had the algo versus ambassador thing. So Nellis lost, Chani lost, Phil's lost, and so Zanub, the final ambassador that did not play against the algorithm, is playing against the algorithm on next weekend game week. So after the international break. So we'll see if they lose. But hey, if you want to play against the algorithm, try and do that at home. Just like build your lineups, then build the suggestions at like 3:30 or something like that. Send us the results. People think it's very easy to beat the algorithm. It's not. I can assure you, it's not. But please try, and if you beat the algorithm, please brag about that. But I hope like the affiliates, NEP is going to play against the algorithm, and I hope we'll beat them again.
I actually have a lot to say about that, but I'm not going to get into it right now.
Because you think you're better than the algorithm.
No, I actually don't think I am, but I think people underestimate why, or people overestimate why they think they're better. And it's less about whether the algorithm can make better lineups, which it can, but that they don't prioritize like the algorithm does. And so that's
yes, but
the
the challenge is you actually prioritize the same way.
Right, but like what people think when they think about their prioritizing it, they're not really prioritizing it, because like if they have a champion Europe lineup and I'm sorry, they play like they're like, I always want All-Star to be the best. And then there's like 2 champion Europe players in there, and they're like, yeah, but I use them in champion Europe. So they take them out, and already the lineup is worse, and they're not actually prioritizing.
Yeah, but that's not how you maximize your chances to actually win something like worthy of winning.
I agree. But
yeah, Sean again against the algorithm is going to happen at some point. No worries about that. Like, and I'm pretty sure SorareData is going to beat Sean, and I will make fun of him for the next 10,000 years. I think if I go to his funeral, I would say he lost against the algorithm, and that is going to be a freaking amazing. And I think Andrew, I need to be there during like the game week and just watch his face melt Like I just want to do that. I just want to do that.
I will go to his funeral. Oh man.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
Thank you everybody for joining. If you have any other questions about SorareData or rainmetrics or Podium, you know where to find us. Sorry. I'll be back tomorrow for off topic. Maxime, I don't know if this show office hours will continue much.
Yeah, we will. We will.
Oh, we will. Oh, how about that? There you go, everyone.
Oh yeah.
We will.
Yeah,
And,
I enjoy talking with you about Sorare stuff. So I'll probably keep.
wait.
Will be.
Not sure I want to
doing
work for
that.
Maxime anymore.
I mean, yeah, you probably don't want to do that anyway. So.
Here lies Sean Newton. You lost against the algorithm. Oh man. Thank you, everyone. Well, good luck over this international break. Let's go.